What's poppin'? No, let me stop. Hey, you guys, what's going on? My name's Ciara, and this is Self-Made Energy, where we want for nothing because we can manifest anything. And I want to manifest this cute little two-piece I saw on Gsuwoo, so real. They need to call it so expensive because that's what it is. But anyway, still fire, but no, my pockets is hurting, alright? I found some $11 fabric and I got my sew on and it came out so bomb, like fire. Yep, you about to see right now. I'm done talking. Y'all about to see. Let's get into it. Okay, you guys, so the first thing you're gonna want to do is on a double layer of fabric, you're gonna trace out the front and back patterns of your jeans. And I wanted mine to be a little boot cut, so I made a little flare at the bottom. And I am gonna stack them, so I made them a little bit longer. But make sure that you measure the front and back of your jeans because the pattern is different. I know it might not seem like it, but it is a little different. And let me recommend that you definitely cut it out on a flat surface because I did not, and I struggled a little bit. My edges were definitely not even. I did have to go back in and even them out later. So definitely make sure your surface is flat. Now you're going to put your back pattern down first, both legs separately, facing up. And you're going to put the top pattern on top, facing down, so the right sides are touching. And make sure you label your front and back pattern since they're so similar. Then you're going to pin the leg seam, inseam all the way up until the crotch. Don't pin the crotch yet. And you're going to pin all the way up the outer seam. Then you're going to do the same thing to the other leg. Once you're done pinning the seams up, you can then pin the crotches together. Front side to front side and flip it over and pin the back side together. And I know the critics are going to be like, why are you taking all this time to pin everything together at this time? But I like to pin everything first, so when I go to the sewing machine, all I have to do is sew everything at one time. So now I'm going to get prepared to go to the sewing machine. So you're going to flip one leg inside out and put it inside the other leg. So you have the whole U of the crotch exposed. So you can sew up the whole entire crotch without anything being in the way. So I'm going to sew that part first. Alright, you guys, you know what time it is. It's time to break Trixie out and get your sew on. So don't forget, always do your test strip because nobody has time for that later. So test everything first, make sure everything's good and working. And the first thing we're going to do is sew up that crotch like I was telling you before. And once you sew up the crotch, then you can sew up both inseams and go ahead and sew up both outer leg seams. It's really simple. Just sew because you already have everything pinned up and you're ready to go. Look at that. Sew away. And don't forget to backstitch at the beginning and end of all your stitches so your work doesn't come undone later in the wash or while you're wearing it because you don't have time for that either. Alright, now once you finish sewing up all the seams, you're going to want to start creating the stacks. And in order to create the stacks, you're going to measure out how high you want them to go. I wanted mine to go about the bottom of my knee. And you're going to do a loose basting stitch from the bottom of the knee all the way down to the bottom of the pants on both sides. Make sure that when you start and end your basting stitch that you do not backstitch because you need the stitch to be loose so you can pull the thread. And you're only going to want to pull the top thread. Do not mess with that bottom thread. That bottom thread has a nasty attitude and it's going to give you problems. So just leave it alone and only pull the top thread and pull it gently. Don't yank it because the thread will pop and you're going to have to re-stitch and re-pull everything again. So just be very gentle and create those nice little ruffles. Also, remember that when you're cutting your pants in the beginning, these ruffles are going to take up a lot of space. So your pants are going to be way shorter if you just measure them out from the jeans. So make sure you leave a lot of extra space if you want a lot of tight ruffles. I did end up having to go back after and add about 8 inches to both legs because I wanted my ruffles to be a little tighter. So just keep that in mind when you're cutting your jeans out in the beginning. Okay, depending on how you want your pants designed, you can go ahead and leave them just stacked pants and you can put the waistband on now, or you can be like me and do it later. But for those who just want stacked pants, I'll show you how to do the waistband now. I just took a 4-inch piece of fabric and wrapped it around my waist and cut it out. You're gonna fold it in half and sew it together. And that's it, waistband. And because you folded it in half, you don't have to worry about the right side or wrong side being out because both sides are right sides. Once you're done making the waistband, you're just going to pin it around the pants. Make sure that you line the seams up because your pants are not going to look good and professional unless them seams are lined up. And depending on your measurements, you may have to stretch and fit the waistband to the pants. Make sure you stretch it out and it's not bulky in certain places because it will look unprofessional and not flattering. So make sure you stretch everything out so the seams lay nice and flat. And then sew it on. Okay, those pants are done. But if you're with the antics like me, you're far from done. So let's seam rip the sides up so you can get into putting those eyelets in. And don't rip too far. Make sure you leave at least 2 to 3 inches between your stacks and where you want the eyelets to start so the stacks don't come undone. And I didn't measure how much space I wanted, so I don't have any measurements for you guys. I kind of eyeballed it. Depends on how big your eyelets are, honestly. Mines were really small, so I only left about 1 inch or 2. Really simple, you just fold it down and sew it into place. You're going to do this 4 times, twice for each leg. Once you're done creating the space for the eyelets, you're going to measure out where you want your eyelets to go. Now I wanted mine to be about 3 inches apart from each other, so I just measured it out and put a little dot in the middle of the eyelet so I knew where I needed to create the hole. Now to put in the eyelet, let me tell you, I struggled with this, and I pray that you get an eyelet kit that comes with directions because mine didn't. And I don't really know how to explain it, but I'm going to try. Okay, so once you figured out where you want your eyelets to go, you're going to cut a little tiny hole where you marked. And make sure it's the tiniest of holes where you can barely squeeze the eyelet in. Because if you cut it too wide, it's just going to fall right through and you're not going to be able to use it. So make sure the hole is really tiny and just squeeze it in. And once you get the top of the eyelet in, you're going to flip it over and put it upside down on the base. Then you're going to put the bottom of the eyelet right side up on top. And put the top of the eyelet kit on top and bang it with your hammer until it's together. Honestly, that's the best way I can describe it, especially since I have no idea what I'm doing. Good luck, you guys. I pray for you. And don't be afraid to try new things, you guys. I am not a professional. Half the time, I don't know what I'm doing until I start doing it. So don't be afraid. Just start trying and figure it out along the way. And I guarantee you, once you're done, you're going to be like, oh my God, I did that. Yes, you did that. And don't worry if your eyelets get a little banged up. It's alright. Mines were a little banged up at first too, trying to figure out how to get them to stay in. But once you practice, it'll get easier and they'll come out better. Now once you're done banging all your eyelets in, you're going to want to put the waistband on finally, and your pants are going to be almost done. It's going to be the same thing I told you before. Make sure the seams are lined up and make sure you stretch them so there's no lumps and bumps. And sew it right on. I did sew my sides of the legs together first, just so it would be easier to sew the waistband on. But depending on how wide you want the opening to be, you don't have to sew the pants together. It's completely up to you, honestly. Okay, you guys, once you're done securing that waistband in place, we're almost finished with our pants. The last thing we need to do is create the strings so we can tie them up. So you're just going to cut out really long strips of fabric. I literally have no measurements. My measurements are really long. So you just cut out really long strips and you're going to fold it in half, good sides together, and sew one straight stitch straight up. Now once you're done sewing both strings, you're going to need to turn them right side out because right now they're inside out. You can use a loop turner, you can use a safety pin, you can use a string. Whatever you have to do to get this thing turned right side out, make it happen. Because it's the last step in making these pants, so we got to make it happen. We did not come all this way to give up now, so get them strings turned inside out. And let me tell you, having a loop turner does not make it easy, okay? I had a loop turner and it came off about 3 times each string, so it's not easier with a loop turner. I think it would have been easier with a safety pin, honestly. But who's to tell now? You do it and let me know which is easier. Yes, love, yes. We are done with these pants. Lace them babies up and put them to the side. We're finally about to start working on the top, and the top is about to be so easy. Compared to these pants, it's like 5 minutes. Okay, so to make the top is really simple. I just wanted a simple tube top because summer's coming, so there was really no need for the sleeves, so I just X'd them out. You're going to take whatever top that you want on a double layer of fabric and measure out the front and measure out the back. Literally that simple. Now this top did have darts and I've never put darts in, so I just kind of eyeball the darts. Honestly, I'm not even going to advise you how to do it because I'm probably going to advise you how to do it wrong. Look up a different video. This is not the video to teach you how to make darts. But I just folded it up and sewed it on there and it worked out. But later on, I'll definitely get some better tips on how to do it once I do some more research. Now, once you're done with the darts, or if your shirt didn't have darts, you're going to want to sew both back sides together, right sides together, so the wrong sides are out, around 3 sides, and you're going to leave one side open so you can flip it over. And you're going to want to do the same thing to the front. Wrong sides together, you're going to sew it together and leave one side open so you can flip it inside or right side out. Okay, once you're done, you're going to want to flip it right side out and do a basting stitch around the top edge so it lays down flat and it's not bulky and bunchy when you put it on. Then you're going to want to pin it together so the tops line up, seams together, and you're going to sew it in place. Now I wanted to put eyelets in my top so it would match the bottom. So I didn't sew the seams all the way down. I only sewed halfway down. And then I sewed each side individually to itself. So there would be a slight triangular opening at the bottom of each side. Once you're done hemming the side seams, you can hem the bottom of the front and back of the shirt and you're pretty much done. If you want eyelets, then you can go ahead and proceed to bang on your shirt for like 3 hours like I did and get those eyelets in. And then create 2 matching strings, same as you did on the pants. Just make 2 long strips and make sure you turn them inside out so the good side is out and you have no fraying. And you're pretty much done, honey. Your outfit is done and you're about to be looking bomb. Okay, you guys, we're pretty much done here, but before we get into that final look, I just want to thank you for watching and tell you how much I appreciate you. And if you haven't already, press that subscribe button, leave a like, leave a comment, let me know how you feel, let me know what you would have done if you have any tips or tricks, because I'm definitely not a professional like I said before, and I'm definitely here to learn anything new. So if you have any tips, leave them in the comments below. And without further ado, let's get into that final look. Thanks, guys.